Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast, and boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Sibylline Oracles, Book 4.
Yeah, Book 4, the whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah. It is pretty short, especially in comparison to Book 3. So I'm very excited to get into it, and I'm also really excited about the fact that so much stuff is coming to a close on this channel. Like, this channel's still gonna be open, don't worry. But we're still gonna be making stuff. But like, I'm almost done with the Suffering Servant script. I'm like 5 pages in. That's definitely not halfway. And we got Atheist Sunday School, which we're still like a ways away from getting done. But, considering we're in acts right now, we are approaching the end of that. We're going to have plenty of apocryphal stuff to cover.
There's an indefinite amount.
Basically, yeah. There's an almost infinite amount of apocryphal literature.
There's stuff being published today that could be considered apocryphal literature.
I don't think we'd want to cover that on the show.
You don't want to do a full-on review
by you.
of Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat?
I don't think I do.
You don't want to do the Noah movie?
I'm sorry. Okay,
Today we're reading the script from the Noah movie.
That sounds horrible. How far down the rabbit hole will we go for biblical illusions? Will we watch?
If you're 50 years old, it'll be Noah, 2 camera. Yes, get all the animals.
Perhaps
is the Exorcist?
Yeah, let's see what you can.
Well,
no, I would say no.
Are you sure?
Or it wouldn't even be pseudepigrapha. No.
No, it involves a priest, a disciple of Jesus.
Wow.
Who uses his power of calling on Jesus' name in order to expel a demon that has possessed an innocent girl.
Yeah.
Sounds like an apocryphal story to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to stretch pretty far.
Well, is there an absolute cutoff date for what is considered apocrypha or pseudepigrapha?
Well, apocrypha. Sure. Okay, so yeah, or pseudepigrapha. Probably not. It's probably not. But we just consider stuff that's like, way older than like this generation or the generation before us. Like stuff that is well over 1,000 years old would probably fall into that range.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably, like a general cutoff date for something like that.
Okay.
Until people are just like, now you're just like criticizing plays or something like that. I don't know.
We could.
No, let's not.
Are we going to do the Iliad? What about the Homeric hymns?
The Homeric hymns.
We're going to take a break after Sunday school.
The Homeric hymns seem like fun.
Yeah.
Because they are kind of wild.
So much time to talk about.
You're right.
We could just read Catalyst.
You'll have plenty of time to talk about it when we have a break from all the readings.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right. So yeah, let's talk about the Sibylline Oracles, Book 4. So Book 4.
What are you reading out of?
Oh yes, I will. I will tell you what I'm reading out of. I am reading out of the Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, edited by James H. Charlesworth. This is Volume 1, Apocalyptic Literature and Testaments.
And this section's by J.J. Collins,
J.J. Right? Collins, yes, it is. So Book 4 is a composite oracle, which consists of a political oracle from the Hellenistic age, updated by a Jew in the late 1st century CE, and adapted for specifically religious purposes. The older Hellenistic oracle is structured by a twofold division of history into 10 generations and 4 kingdoms, which we kind of saw that in an earlier oracle. Not sure about the 4 kingdoms, but 10 generations. They said that they were 10 generations, but there were only 7 listed, right? I think that's what we covered in a different book. So this is found.
But the generations are different between different Sibyls.
They are, yeah. So the 10th generation and 4th kingdom coincide in the Macedonian Empire. We should expect this climactic generation should be followed by a definitive kingdom of judgment, but instead we find history prolonged to refer to Rome and its eventual downfall. Since Rome is not integrated into the numerical schematization of history, we must assume that verses 102 through 151, that is, are a later addition, and that the original oracle referred to no historical empire after Macedonia. We should expect, however, that the original oracle built up to some conclusion, which is now contained in verses 49 through 101. It is quite possible that the conclusion now found in verses 173 to the end, which tells us about the end time, also formed the conclusion of the original oracle, but this, of course, cannot be conclusively demonstrated. So as to the date, the original oracle was probably written not long after the time of Alexander, which would make sense. So the Macedonian Empire is thought to have lasted only one generation, and there is no clear reference to any events between the death of Alexander and the rise of Rome. Because, of course, after the death of Alexander, stuff for the Macedonian Empire really kind of, or I guess, how should I put this? Good things for the Macedonian Empire just kind of stopped happening because there was no centralized power anymore, and they were enormous, so they kind of needed some sort of centralization, and it kind of broke up into.
They could have gotten by without any centralization if everyone else also abandoned centralization.
Yeah, but they didn't. So that's not what happened.
That'd be like saying your body could survive without its central nervous system. You just have to figure out how to survive without.
If nobody else is surviving without their central, well, if other people can survive without their central nervous system, then I can too.
I still can't get over how communist Acts is.
Yeah.
It is. It is pretty communist.
We might as well refer to Peter as Marx.
That's great.
See, it's funny because it could also be a joke about Mark.
Yeah.
It's not, but it could be. Sounds like it could be.
In an ideal world.
Yeah. In schematizations of history of this sort, the last enumerated kingdom or generation is either a glorious one or is especially marked out for destruction. Since the Macedonians do not in any sense usher in a glorious age in the fourth Sibylline Oracle, we must assume that the Oracle was anti-Macedonian in tendency. If the present conclusion was part of the original Oracle, then Macedonia would have been the immediate victim of the judgment of God. And it seems like an anti-Macedonian bias is kind of what we're going for, but we've seen oracles and kind of delineations of human history like this before, like in Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's probably along that same kind of theme.
When you see the beasts in Daniel, they were a reference to Turkey, China, Iran, and Russia.
Wow. Turkey, China, Iran, and Russia.
And we're seeing the events that were foretold by Daniel.
Yep, seeing those today,
in
aren't
real
we?
time.
Wow,
right
it's
now.
almost like I've heard people use those verses for other things just a few years ago.
They were wrong.
They were wrong.
They were wrong.
Of course they were wrong.
This is the right way.
Yeah, of course, yeah. The one that interprets everything through the current modern lens is always the right one.
Well, it's a book of prophecies.
Yeah. Here you go. Anyways, here's the fourth Sibylline Oracle.
This is literally a book of prophecies.
Yeah.
So, book 4 of the Sibylline Oracles. Proclamation of the Sibyl. People of boastful Asia and Europe, give ear to the unfailing truths that I'm about to prophesy.
Hold on.
It's hurting me.
First of all, I think we should fix Ruben's camera.
Oh,
Yeah, what the hell is going on?
I don't know how it got like that.
What have you done?
We're going to fix that. I don't know how it got like that. And second, you sound like, God, what's that new, there's this new Netflix show. It's very Rick and Morty-esque. It's very Futurama-esque, too. Inside Job, is that the name of it? Yeah. So there's this one dolphin man.
Dolphin Man.
Yeah, you sound a lot like him.
Dolphin or whatever his name is.
Is he played by Dolph Lundgren?
I don't think so, but that would be good.
Cool. Yeah.
That would be good. Okay. So I think that, the camera should be better now. So
Okay, sorry. I don't know how that happened.
Give ear to the unfailing truths that I'm about to prophecy through my honey-voiced mouth from our shrine.
Thank you.
All right. I am not an oracle monger of false Phoebus, whom vain men call a god and falsely describe as a seer. The Sibyl is... So Pausanias says that the Sibyl is a prophetess of Phoebus, who is Apollo.
Oh, yeah. That was another title for Apollo.
Mm-hmm. Now we're in another section, polemic against idolatry and temples. But of the great God, whom no hands of men fashioned in the likeness of speechless idols of polished stone, for he does not have a house, a stone set up as a temple, dumb and toothless, a bane which brings many woes to men, but one which it is not possible to see from earth, nor to measure with mortal eyes, since it was not fashioned by mortal hand. He sees all at once, but is seen by no one himself. Dark night is his, and day, sun and stars, moon and fish-filled sea.
Wow, I didn't know Batman was in this.
Yeah. And land and rivers and source of perennial springs, things created for life, also showers which engender the fruit of the soil, and trees, both vine and olive. He it is who drove a whip through my heart within, to narrate accurately to men what now is and what will yet be, from the first generation until the 10th comes. For he himself will prove everything by accomplishing it. But you...
This seems pretty in line with all the eschatological ideologies at the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's very clearly like an introduction of like, no, the true God is giving me these messages that I'm about to deliver to you.
Yeah.
But you, people, listen to the Sibyl in all things as she pours forth true speech from her holy mouth. Now we get into another section, praise of the righteous. Happy will be those of mankind on earth who will love the great God, blessing him before drinking and eating, putting their trust in piety. They will reject all temples when they see them. This rejection of temple worship and animal sacrifice is characteristic of the Ebionites.
And the thing is, rejecting, was it all, you have to reject all their gods, right, when you see the things happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it's also characteristic of the Alcasaites of Epiphanes, Panarian Herasium.
The thing is, that happens in the Bible as well.
Yeah. The attitudes of the Essenes to temple worship are more complex. Philo says they express their devotion not by sacrificing
I
animals.
guess to be fair, I don't really know exactly what those sects believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So...
Can you, or are they just unknowable?
Probably, maybe something. Obviously, they know something about it. So
the Essenes...
There must be some way to find out.
According to Philo...
Like, the Essenes were a Jewish sect, so...
Yeah. They express their devotion not by sacrificing animals, but by determining to render their own minds holy. Josephus says that they sent gifts to the temple, but offered sacrifices by themselves. Well, the question as to whether sacrifices were offered at Qumran is disputed. Temple worship is never rejected in principle in the scrolls.
And the reason that, it wouldn't be. So, because at the time that they were written, at least, assuming that they're not too late, you wouldn't need to reject temple worship or anything. Temple is still standing. However, the reason it's important to talk about Qumran there is because it is believed by many scholars that the Dead Sea Scrolls the ones found at Qumran, are kind of like the I guess you could say like the collection from the Essene community. Yeah.
Altars, too, useless foundations of dumb stones. And the following is in parentheses. And stone statues and handmade images, and parentheses. This is found only in Clement and is rejected by Gefkin. Defiled with blood of animate creatures and sacrifices of four-footed animals.
Yeah, remember there was that portion in, I already forgot which book it was, but they were saying that they didn't really, that guy didn't care about the sacrifice. He cared obviously more about like your like how good your devotion was. But the sacrifice was.
But having the proper sacrifice is part of the devotional practice.
No, I'm specifically referencing a place in the Bible, which
there's a part in the Bible where it says that people were doing proper sacrifices, but their heart was in the wrong place, so God didn't want their sacrifices. That doesn't mean that you can make improper sacrifices as long as your heart's in the right place. In fact, there's several.
It's about it specifically referenced I know which part you're talking about, but there's also a part where it is said that like the sacrifice is really secondary. Like if you do a proper sacrifice, God's not going to mind it, but it's not what he's looking for.
Well, and you would have to find it.
I would. You're right.
Yeah.
Fuck. Any chance Jason is listening? I feel like he might know.
I know.
Jason, if you're listening to this later, comment.
Yeah, please.
They will look to the great glory of the one God and commit no wicked murder, nor deal in dishonest gain, which are most horrible things. Neither have they disgraceful desire for another's spouse, or for hateful and repulsive abuse of a male. Other men will never imitate their way or piety or customs, because they desire shamelessness. On the contrary, they deride them with mockery and laughter. Infantile in their foolishness, they will falsely attribute to those what wicked and evil deeds they themselves commit. Now another subsection on the coming judgment. For the entire race of men is slow of faith, but when the judgment of the world and of mortals has already come, which God himself will perform, judging impious and pious at once, then he will also send the impious down to the gloom in fire.
I'm guessing that's just another way to say Gehenna, or at this point maybe even
and
hell.
The idea of a fiery hell, this does appear in Sibylline Oracle 2, so the idea was around.
Yeah, it tracks.
And then they will realize what impiety they committed. But the pious will remain on the fertile soil, and God will give them spirit and life and favor all at once. All these things will be accomplished in the 10th generation. But now, the things which will happen from the first generation, these will I say. And I will hand it off to you.
To read what they say?
Read, I guess,
I
read about almost 50 verses, so why don't you hand it back to me once you get to the Rise of Rome?
The Rise of Rome, you got it. All right. So now we're on to the First Kingdom. And of course this would, so first, the Assyrians will rule over all mortals.
Oh, no.
So of course that's not first, it's just the first one to take over Israel.
It's the first kingdom.
There were other kingdoms.
Well,
it's just
the first kingdom right there.
Yeah, I know. they were the first one to take over Israel.
Yeah.
There were plenty of other kingdoms.
But they didn't take Judah.
Well, the thing, I guess they didn't fully take it, but they still did kind of. One of the big issues with the Assyrian invasion was that they mostly made it, at least the way that the people saw it, there was now a very diverse group of people living there.
Which they all hated.
Essentially, yeah. that was one of the issues for them. But yeah, obviously it was still like a takeover of a land, and they're under new leadership, which isn't which by itself isn't great. But either way, so
here's a question about Christian afterlives. So children can be sinners, right?
sure, yeah,
And
probably.
so unrepentant child sinners go to hell, right? And there's fire in hell.
I feel like there's probably some kind of
Leading question.
rule on it, but yeah, maybe.
Well, if there's fire in hell,
I think it depends. I think it might depend on if they had, and if somebody had like told them about Jesus, because like if you hadn't even heard about Jesus, you'd have no chance to repent.
like a 5-year-old child is capable of hearing about Jesus and rejecting Jesus.
In America,
Yeah. So that child would go to hell.
yeah.
So when that child goes to hell,
So children can sin and be innocent of the sin in their hearts. So are you suggesting then that like so you can do something bad, right, but not have it be like with evil intentions? Because like I assume like that's probably a lot of people.
yeah, but a child is capable of rejecting Jesus, right? Like you don't have to be an intelligent adult.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
If you are a child forever,
Well, then you would be
you are either mentally,
You'd be you.
mentally or physically, incapable of becoming an adult. You've never heard of those people who don't have their pituitary glands come in, or maybe they are retarded and they just don't get their brains to work.
Okay. So I think I know what you're referencing, but I don't like mentally. Those people don't stay children forever. They still age, but they just look like children forever.
So how about if you're a child at heart? We're like, you keep your youthful enthusiasm and childlike wonder throughout your adulthood.
Do you mean having a personality trait?
Well, not everyone has those, Ruben, so let's not just...
No, I'm pretty sure everyone has personality traits.
Yeah.
They're just not always great.
No.
Either way. So,
But the point being that those children are put through the fire.
well, see, the
Which
Godfather
God
would
says-
disagree with you
Well,
because they're still pure in their hearts.
Wow.
okay. So, like, just arbitrarily,
What if
all
humans
children-
are all children?
have you ever
and no
met
one's
a
ever been an
child
adult?
godfather?
Yeah, right?
They are children are awful.
I hate kids.
they-
Not like I'm going to do anything to hurt them or anything, but like let them stay away from us. Like
There's
nobody
no-
likes them here.
There's no empathy in children a hell of a lot of the time.
They were really brutal when I was a kid.
Yeah, they were brutal when I was a kid. Yeah, I mean, we were kids that are around the same time. So
They'll do things that they know are wrong to
Oh, yeah.
do
Absolutely.
all the time.
absolutely.
Like relatively speaking, I think we were all decent children.
I mean,
I was
I
a
was an
pretty-
awkward child. I was a very awkward
but I wasn't
child.
How many kids
crazy
stole
kid.
your Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
all of
a
them.
bunch. Yeah.
Everybody stole
Yeah.
my cards.
Yeah.
Like you find your cards amongst everyone else's collection, and you'd be like, "I marked them." So you knew they were mine, but they were like, "Yeah, but I also marked them that way."
Yeah, kids are horrible.
Yeah, they're really mean.
Yeah. So either way, first the Assyrians will rule over all over all mortals, holding the world in their dominion for 6 generations, from the time when the heavenly God was in wrath with the cities themselves and all men, and the sea covered the earth when the flood burst forth. So he was still mad, even though that happened like forever ago. Because if you take this in like the most young Earth creationist perspective, then yeah, he would have destroyed everything, and then sometime later, the Assyrians, eventually take over Israel, and he's still mad. So, yeah. Now here's the second kingdom.
God loves the children.
Yeah, right.
Except for those babies who are explicitly to have their heads dashed against rocks
for God's pleasure.
Oh, and
the ones he killed.
Yeah,
the ones he enjoyed killing.
Remember, that was a threat. Because it was in Deuteronomy, right? But that was a threat that he would do that. He didn't do it.
Well, God also
but he threatened to.
God also doesn't love children born of adultery, because he gives commandments, and I've read it once at least on the show, where the priests are supposed to give the woman the bitter water that causes
the bitter water,
her to miscarry.
Yeah, that's true.
So God doesn't love unborn children. God is okay with babies having their heads dashed against rocks. God explicitly kills every single human child in the flood, except for Noah's kids.
Yeah. He does just kill everybody.
Job's kids.
Indiscriminately. Also Job's kids. Yeah. Job's
Lots of kids.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like New Testament.
Yeah,
God
floods happen. Floods definitely happen. But
generally nicer.
If you take the Bible literally, then
evil kids.
It's more than just floods happen. It's deliberate destruction of the planet.
I thought kids couldn't be evil.
Yeah, I thought kids were innocent.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Okay, kids are evil then. Which means that when kids go to hell, they're put through the fire. Children. So God
also if you remember,
disobeys his own commandment not to put children through the fire because he puts children through the fire.
So it was water that time, right? But
no, when they go to hell.
Right, okay. Right. Maybe when they're in hell, he's like, wait, I said I wouldn't do this, so here, take a swim.
Yeah, right.
It's like
we're gonna wait for you to
take
grow
a
up.
swim through lava.
Yeah. First, we're gonna wait 20 years for you to get older. Then we're gonna torch you for eternity. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we ever said that we've seen babies do anything bad.
No. I also wouldn't.
Infants are infants. I don't think.
Yeah, they're not really like
evil.
Yeah, they're not.
I wouldn't say that any being is necessarily essentially evil.
Right. Yeah.
They can commit actions that are against ethics.
Yeah, but like if the thing is, if you don't, hopefully this is where you hope that there's just good parenting and they can teach the kid to not be a fucking asshole. That's the most I could say.
Or they could teach the kid to be an asshole.
Yeah,
they could.
Evil exists only within humanity as it has evolved, not as it starts. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you're right. An infant can't be evil at all.
No. Like the thing is,
we're not arguing that. We were arguing children, as in like,
anywhere, like once they start like talking and stuff.
A child is a post-toddler.
Yeah. Because when I was a kid, all the kids around me were horrible. So
yeah.
Oh, we got one of those. We got two of those.
I gotta.
Add them as a moderator.
Would you stop, Ruben? All right. So, anyways, the Second Kingdom. Should we talk about the Second Kingdom?
That's what you wanted.
No.
Yeah. Tell me about the Second Kingdom.
These will the Medes destroy, and that being the Assyrians. These will the Medes destroy, and boast on their thrones. They will have only 2 generations. In their time, the following things will take place. There will be a dark night in the mid-hour of day. Batman, obviously. The stars and the circles of the moon will disappear from heaven. The earth, shaken by the turmoil of a great earthquake, will cast down headlong many cities and works of men. That is what happens when there's a big earthquake, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then islands will emerge from the depths of the sea.
Volcanoes.
No, because God's a
volcano.
We're not totally there yet.
Yeah, these are man-made islands.
Islands will emerge from the depths of the sea.
Yeah, volcanoes. Underwater volcanoes.
I understand that those are things, but also we haven't even gotten to the full thing yet.
Yeah, but islands emerging.
But if you have, what I am saying is, if you
Past that.
in this
talking to him.
framework, if you have like an island that isn't a volcano and it's just under the sea and then rises for some other reason, that would be an allowable thing because, indistinguishable from magic.
Well, I guess they could just believe that they're paradise islands that are hiding.
Yeah, maybe
Underwater.
That's why I said let's finish the thing. So islands will emerge from the depths of the sea. But when the great Euphrates is flooded with blood, oh boy, then indeed a terrible din of battle will arise for the Medes and the Persians in war. The Medes will fall under the spears of the Persians and flee over the great water of the Tigris. So, describing a bloody battle. It seems like, but also, I guess we didn't really get anything on the islands.
Yeah, they're just islands.
Yep.
The third kingdom, the power of the Persians, will be the greatest of the whole world. They are destined to have one generation of very prosperous rule. All evils which men pray to be spared will come to pass. Battles and murders, dissensions and exiles, headlong crashes of towers and overthrow of cities. When boastful Greece sails to the wide Hellespont, bringing grievous doom to the Phrygians and Asia.
Chris.
Wow. Those things got back
Again.
quick this time. Wow. That is very annoying. Yeah. Further, famine and failure of crops will visit much furrowed wheat-bearing Egypt for a 20-year cycle, when the Nile, which nourishes corn, hides its dark water somewhere else under the earth. Oh, so this would have been a period where there was no, what's it called, inundation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The period of, when they have periodic flooding.
Yeah.
But this is the good kind, where they got it under control. But either way, it didn't happen for a while. So a king will come from Asia, brandishing a great spear with countless ships. Here. The invasions of Greece by Xerxes in 480 BCE. Xerxes made a bridge of boats across the Hellespont and cut a canal through the Athos Peninsula. He will walk the watery paths of the deep and will cut through a lofty mountain as he sails. Him will wretched Asia receive as a fugitive from war. When the flame of Etna belches forth a stream of great fire, it will burn all miserable Sicily. Okay. Now that's a volcano.
Yes.
And the great city Croton will fall into the deep stream. There will be strife in Greece, raging against each other. They will cast many cities down headlong and will destroy many men by fighting.
Croton.
Good old Croton.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of that. Let's see here. A reference to the continual wars among the Greeks, but especially the Peloponnesian War of 431 to 404. That's all I get when it comes to there being strife in Greece, but nothing.
Now, see, Croton is an extensive flowering plant genus in the spurge family.
Okay.
Euphorbicaceae.
Wow.
The
great city, that is.
The plants of this genus were described and introduced to Europeans by George Ebenhard Rumphius. The common names for this genus are rushfoil.
Why are you reading about this?
I'm figuring out what Croton is.
Can't you type in city or Greece or something?
No.
An ancient Croton, a city in Calabria.
There we go. See?
How useless.
It was known as Cotrone from the Middle Ages until 1928, when its name was changed to the current one, which is Crotone, but it could also be Kutron or Kutruni.
Ah, okay.
Great.
Yeah, this is like, you know how Italy's like a boot?
Yeah.
This is like right at the back of the ball of the foot, right before the bridge.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's Croton.
Ah, I see.
Which is not in Sicily.
Crouton?
No, but Sicily.
Sicily used to be a kingdom.
Sicily's also like right there.
Sicily is on an entirely different landmass.
Yeah, but it's like right there.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's right there.
And the thing is, I think they would have had this they would have been under the same control, I think.
Maybe. But it's a little bit like if we were like, woe unto Wisconsin, their heinous land of
The upper
Quebec. Yeah, it's like, well,
It's close.
close, relatively.
It is, but this would be describing a different. Those are just different events, I think. Well, the thing is, if there's okay, so I don't know exactly where Mount Etna is, right? But
Yeah.
if it's close enough, it could theoretically. Oh man, I don't know how. No, I don't think it would destroy it then, depending on where it is. If it's in Sicily, then sure, but if it's in Italy, then yeah, I don't know. Also, we can hear it every time you do that.
Good.
Okay, I don't think that's good.
It's a sound effect for the show.
No, it's not.
It's supposed to be annoying to Ruben most.
Anyways, so yeah, there will be a whole bunch of strife. Raging against each other, they will cast many cities down headlong and will destroy many men by fighting, but the strife will have equal effect on all parties. But when the race of men comes to the 10th generation, then there will also be yokes of slavery and terror for the Persians. Now here is the 4th kingdom. But when the Macedonians boast of scepters, thereafter there will also be dire capture for Thebes.
I'll be right back.
The Carians will inhabit Tyre. This dire capture for Thebes here. So Thebes was captured by Alexander in 335. I would say that, yeah, it's in Egypt, I'm pretty sure. Thebes. I'm pretty sure it's in Egypt. If I haven't totally forgotten everything. So the Carians will inhabit Tyre, and the Tyrians will perish. And this seems like Tyre was captured in 332 BC. So they're just hitting everything. Well, I guess he would have hit everything because he's Alexander. He just took over the entire place. But couldn't get into India, I don't think. So the Carians will inhabit Tyre, and the Tyrians will perish. Sand will cover all Samos. That is a Mediterranean island. In fact, arguably the first named pirate is from there. Yeah, Polycrates. You can go look him up. He's listed as a tyrant. But if you actually look at the stuff that he did, he sounds an awful lot like a pirate. So.
Yar.
Yeah, exactly. Except they wouldn't say yar. I don't know why they would.
I don't know who says yar.
Nobody says yar, except for
just-
people who
just
think that's
fake?
what pirates do.
I have asked.
That
See, they
too?
would say stuff. They would say more stuff like that.
Are you sure?
Yes, they would, because that's just how sailors talked.
Oh,
But no one ever said yar.
yeah.
Yar, har, har.
Exactly. That's just ridiculous.
Maybe one guy did and it caught on.
Maybe one guy did because he was bad at speaking.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
What about arg?
Yeah, same thing. Probably just bad at speaking. Or it's just like
Davy Jones' locker.
Fake.
Well, I mean, yes, it is fake. It just meant being dead. But I think it was just another way to say it.
Yar, I'll be taking ye to Davy Jones' locker. Arg.
Dead.
Wow. Anyways, Delos, another Mediterranean island, will no longer be visible, and all affairs of Delos will be inconspicuous. Babylon great in appearance but insignificant in battle, will stand, built on useless hopes.
Insignificant in battle?
Yeah.
See, now, because this is so far in the future,
Okay.
now they're insignificant in battle.
They've degraded to the point where they're insignificant in battle.
They've degraded, and I'm pretty sure at this point in time, the author's like, you know what? I'm going to fucking shit on them now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is my shot.
Yeah.
Macedonians.
Now that you're punching down,
Yeah,
say whatever you want about Babylon.
exactly. Macedonians will colonize Bactria, but the people of Bactria and Susa was a capital of ancient Persia, I believe it was the capital, it will all flee to the land of Greece. It will come to pass in future generations that Pyramus of the Silver Current, I'll get to it, don't worry.
Is that a role-playing name?
I don't know. It certainly sounds like it. So it will come to pass in future generations that Pyramus of the Silver Current, pouring forward its shoreline, will reach the sacred island. So I'm guessing it's a river, right? But the Pyramus is a Cilician river.
Okay.
And this oracle apparently is also found in Strabo as well.
So the Silver Current, it's possible that there was silver literally in the water.
That is perfectly possible.
It looked silvery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know which.
But what is this island?
Okay, so yeah, we'll reach the sacred island, and you, Barris, will fall, and Cyzicus, when cities slide, as the earth is shaken by earthquakes. Is Barris the name of that sacred island?
Could be. What makes it sacred?
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if it's supposed to be an island. It sounds like it's at least a place. So I'm not entirely certain. There's no note on it. So upon the Rhodians too, a final but greatest disaster will come. Rhodes. Also, famous island.
I thought they meant Rhodians, the alien species in the Star Wars universe.
Too bad.
That would have been something. That would have been something.
Then the book would be a lot more prophetic.
Yeah.
You're right, it would be.
Somehow.
So now on to the rise of Rome.
Yeah. Hand it up to me.
All right, then.
I'll tell you about Rome.
All right, go ahead. Tell me about Rome.
So, the rise of Rome. Nor will the power of Macedonia survive, but from the west, or west, a great Italian war will bloom, under which the world will serve, bearing the yoke of slavery for the Italians. So there is a note here. The Macedonian Wars, beginning in 214 BC and culminating in the Battle of Pydna in 168 BC.
Hey, Matthew, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's been a while.
How you been? Hopefully you're doing okay over there.
I don't know. Read what he said.
Well, welcome.
I
welcome
read what he
back.
said, yeah.
You also, miserable Corinth, will one day behold
Yeah, behold.
your capture. Carthage, your tower will also bend the knee to the ground. Carthage and Corinth fell in 146 BC. Wretched Laodicea, at some time an earthquake will throw you headlong and spread you flat, but you will be founded again as a city and stand. So Tacitus in his annals reports an earthquake at Laodicea in 60 AD. Yes, the annals.
Yeah, we have it. We have it, actually.
Pull up
Tacitus, the Annals of Imperial Rome.
Yes, the annals 1427.
Okay. 1427. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at the thing, but I'll keep that in mind. Okay, 1427.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, I will slowly read this. Beautiful Myra of Lycia, the shuddering earth
I hate
will
this.
no longer support you, but falling down headlong on the earth. You will pray to flee to another land as an exile, when the Lord spreads out the dark water of the sea with thunderings and earthquakes because of the impieties of Patara.
Yeah, sorry, what was the, you think you said it was
1427.
27. Okay.
Armenia, the compulsion of slavery awaits you also.
You know, this is kind of, the way this is set up, it's not set up where, like, each book is its own thing.
Great.
It's set up very strangely, where it's all put into, like, the context of, like, a regular book. Like into, like, a modern book, I should say, where here are chapters about subjects, and then it moves on to the next one. So it looks like I am currently at, it looks like I'm definitely on book 14 from as far as I can tell. So yeah, book 14, but they're not like numbered at all. Yeah, so this is the section, right? This is supposed to be the start of, or at least part of book 14. It starts at like book 14, line 14 or something like that is where it starts, where the chapter starts, I should say. So the way that it's formatted is like a modern day book. So it's probably be easier for us to read, but it also makes it harder for us to actually reference, which I feel like if you're reading Tacitus, the Annals of Imperial Rome, you would probably want it more as a reference instead of like a general, you know, late night read.
Nah.
No?
No, most people don't care about reference books at all and would rather just read the materials.
But it's, I don't know. I feel like Tacitus is one of those people that you would
have in a standard library in a relatively well-off home.
I guess, yeah.
That parents would make their children read.
Did your parents make you read Tacitus?
No, we didn't have Tacitus in the house.
Oh, okay. I'm guessing you were reading something insane, right? Because your dad's nuts.
No.
Well, I wasn't in the house with my dad. So.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Also,
okay.
he doesn't read.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't find this mention of Laodicea.
That's okay.
So, yeah. Okay, that's
sure
fine.
It must be in here.
Must be in here somewhere, but it's so weirdly formatted, it's hard to find.
Yeah. The destruction of Jerusalem. An evil storm of war will also come upon Jerusalem from Italy, and it will sack the great temple of God.
Oh, gosh.
Whenever they put their trust in folly and cast off piety and commit repulsive murders in front of the temple. There is a footnote that says the reference is probably to the Romans, but possibly to the Zealots. Then a great king will flee from Italy like a runaway slave, unseen and unheard over the channel of the Euphrates. This is Nero. The emperor committed suicide in AD 68. There's widespread belief that he had fled to the Parthians and would return.
Yes, I made, when I was talking about Nero in my Revelation video, I did mention that, yeah. So they thought that he was hiding out. Mm-hmm. So that's why he was referenced in Revelation as, he was one of the original heads, but he's also coming back because they believed that he was still alive and he was going to come back.
Mm-hmm. When he dares to incur a maternal curse for repulsive murder, Nero had his mother put to death, according to Suetonius, Nero, and many other things, confidently with wicked hand. When he runs away beyond the Parthian land, many will bloody the ground for the throne of Rome. This is a reference to the rapid succession of emperors, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian, and the accompanying strife.
Yeah, all of them together, those four, I think they lasted 2 years together. Like, cumulatively.
Absurd.
Yeah. It's nuts how quickly that position changed.
Yeah.
But I also did, I covered all that in my Revelation video.
Mm-hmm. A leader of Rome will come to Syria. This is a reference to Titus, who will burn the temple of Jerusalem with fire, At the same time, slaughter many men and destroy the great land of the Jews with its broad roads. Then indeed an earthquake will destroy at once Salamis and Paphos, when the dark water overwhelms Cyprus, which is washed by many waves. Now we have a section that is just called Various Disturbances.
I love various disturbances.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when a firebrand turned away from a cleft in the earth in the land of Italy reaches to broad heaven, the eruption of Vesuvius, which destroyed Pompeii in 79 AD, it will burn many cities and destroy men. Much smoking ashes will fill the sky, and showers will fall from heaven like red earth. Know then the wrath of the heavenly God, because
You know what is interesting? It's probably not referenced in there, but also again, when I covered Revelation, there, when they mention that it's the wrath of the heavenly God, there was someone must have come back to look at the devastation however long later, and they wrote in I guess you kind of call it chalk. So they wrote in chalk on some rock, Sodom. They wrote the word Sodom.
wow.
Because that's what it's because, this was a Jewish guy coming back to his home and being like, this shit got fucked. So just writing Sodom right on a rock there.
Wow.
And I think that's pretty cool. I think it's interesting, at least. It shows at least that there was some Jewish community there, in Pompeii. Which is there's a good amount of evidence for that, actually. Yeah. When I was researching for that video, I was reading it's a really short book about the Jews in Pompeii and Herculaneum, or Herculaneum, right? I think it's Herculaneum. So there was also a very, very, it wasn't a good painting, but it was, it wasn't a good painting, but it was of the scene of Solomon, where he's deciding whether or not he's going to, cut the baby and give it his whole wisdom scene. Yes, thank you, Matthew. So there was a painting of that in Pompeii. It was bad. Every character looked like a baby. It was, oversized heads, and it was very caricatured, but it was, so that is another interesting find from Pompeii.
So they were big anime fans in Pompeii.
You could call it that. Yeah.
Okay. Know then the wrath of the heavenly God, because they will destroy the blameless tribe of the pious. Then the strife of war being aroused will come to the west. And the fugitive from Rome will also come, brandishing a great spear, having crossed the Euphrates with many myriads. Now, this is reference to Nero again. The legend of Nero's return arose from the belief that he had fled to the Parthians, and was boosted by a series of impostors who claimed to be the returned emperor. At least two such impostors are known. One in 69 AD.
Nice.
And the other about 20 years later. These are referenced by Tacitus, Dio Cassius, and Suetonius.
Okay.
At first, Nero was believed to be still alive and operating on a human level. In the Jewish tradition, however, he is mythicized and even identified with Belial in the Sibylline Oracles 3.
Which we did cover.
And the Ascension of Isaiah 4.
Yep.
Wretched Antioch, they will no longer call you a city when you fall under spears by your own folly.
Okay, so if you guys I was looking this up just to see if you could find it on Google. So if you just look up Pompeii, Wisdom of Solomon, and just take a look at the images. So this is the scene. Everyone is tiny. Everyone is not well proportioned.
It doesn't look like it survived very well either.
It didn't. I mean, what do you expect? It was it was a volcano.
Volcanoes should have more respect for the arts.
If you look closely at it, that's horrible. That's horrifying, actually.
That is horrible.
It's so bad.
And then pestilence and terrible din of battle will destroy Cyprus. Woe to miserable Cyprus! A broad wave of the sea will cover you when you have been tossed up by wintry blasts. Great wealth will come to Asia, which Rome itself once plundered and deposited in her house of many possessions. She will then pay back twice as much and more to Asia. And then there will be a surfeit of war. This should not be interpreted with Lancaster as a reference to a specific event. As in the parallel Sibylline passages, it attests to the common Asiatic hope for vengeance on Rome.
Yeah, that's pretty classic.
A bitter famine will destroy the cities of the Carians, which are very beautifully turreted by the waters of the Meander, whenever the Meander hides its dark water. And I've read there it's about 50 lines, so
I guess I can
it off every 50 lines now.
Yeah, I can edit there. Or yeah, we can finish it. Yeah.
Right there.
All right. So, next section.
Yeah.
Impiety of the last times. But when faith in piety perishes from among men, and justice is hidden in the world, untrustworthy men living for unholy deeds will commit outrage, wicked and evil deeds. That makes sense, yeah. No one will take account of the pious, but they will even destroy them all by foolishness. Very infantile people, rejoicing in outrages and applying their hands to blood. Even then, know that God is no longer benign, but gnashing his teeth in wrath and destroying the entire race of men at once by a great conflagration. So, yeah, that tracks what we just read. Yeah. Everyone's evil, so.
This entire book is like woes and destruction.
It's
prophecy.
supposed to be.
It's very similar to some of the minor prophets, where it's literally just woes the entire time.
Well, the thing is, it starts off as like, kind of an outline of history, but then puts it in these terms that are meant to signify the end times, which a lot of people always, for a very long time, have thought it's going to be in their lifetimes.
Never
never
happened.
Yeah, we're still here, guys. Things are still. Things suck, but we're not in the end times. No.
What's that? The air sirens?
Yes, the air sirens.
And my phone.
Do you hear those?
Emergency alert. Take cover. I don't know.
Emergency alert. Apocalypse.
Apocalypse. Yep. Yeah. They wouldn't do that. That would cause mass panic.
That would. Although, man, I'd be totally here for that. Like, I'd love it.
Yeah, you would.
I would just love it.
Yeah, you'd like
just
that.
to see what happens. All right.
Masochist for everyone.
So next section, exhortation to conversion and baptism. So starting to get very Jesus-y. Wretched mortals, change these things and do not lead the great God to all sorts of anger, but abandon daggers and groanings, murders and outrages, and wash your whole bodies in perennial rivers. The most obvious parallel to the baptism is, of course, we get John the Baptist, right? Baptism and eschatology are also linked in the Ebionite and Elkosite sects, which you did hit on before.
Yes.
The baptism of Sibylline Oracles 4 shows little resemblance to the ritual washings of the Essenes. All that we know of the baths of the Essenes from Josephus or from the Qumran scrolls points to daily purifications, not to a baptism of repentance. And the ritual washings of Sibylline Oracles 3 also refer to daily purifications. Stretch out your hands to heaven and ask forgiveness for your previous deeds, and make propitiation for bitter impiety with words of praise. God will grant repentance and will not destroy. He will stop his wrath against you. He will stop. I can't read. He will stop his wrath again if you all practice honorable piety in your hearts. See, that's the important thing. In your hearts.
Not out loud.
No. You got to be in your hearts.
In your heart.
Oh, yeah. Shut up about it. And next section, the conflagration. So we get to hear about it. But if you do not obey me, evil-minded ones, but love impiety and receive all these things with evil ears, there will be a fire throughout the whole world. I'm going to guess this is referencing the Roman fires? Because the fires of Rome, the fires of Rome, right? It's like nearly, I think Nero started that. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to read the things here.
Yeah.
So the destruction of the whole world by fire was part of several traditions in the Hellenistic age. In Stoicism, the conflagration would reduce everything to its primal substance. The doctrine of the great year, found already in Heraclitus and Plato, envisaged two great cycles, one ending in a flood, the other in a fire. This idea is found in Berosus and may have influenced books 1 and 2, or even book 4, which deals only with the period after the flood. It is also found in the Vita and in Josephus, and in 2 Peter as well. Fire as a stream of molten metal is a standard feature of Persian eschatology in the... Oh, man, I can't even read this. I think this is the name of a holy book. In the I can't. That is such a weird word.
In the Bundahischen,
okay.
The stream of fire melts mountains and makes the earth level. The oracle of Hystaspes also predicted the destruction of the world by fire. In the biblical tradition, fire is an instrument of Yahweh's judgment. The belief in the fire conflagration is attributed to both by the Essenes and the Pharisees by Hippolytus. It is attested in 1QH, 1 Enoch, and Pseudo-Sophocles.
So I was thinking maybe an actual one.
It's a very wide-reaching concept.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they were going to refer to an actual one, because there were some pretty big fires, but I guess they were just talking about. Here's fires. A world-ending one. Mm-hmm. And a very great sign with sword and trumpet at the rising of the sun. The whole world will hear a bellowing noise and mighty sound. He will burn the whole earth, and will destroy the whole race of men and all cities and rivers at once, and the sea. He will destroy everything by fire, and it will be smoking dust. And now here's the last section. But when everything is already dusty ashes, and God puts to sleep the unspeakable fire, even as he kindled it, God himself will again fashion the bones and ashes of men, and he will raise up mortals again as they were before. Now, there are a lot of parallels to this. So there is that section in Matthew, right? Mm-hmm. Where people get up out of the grave, but this is also more of a literal interpretation of, I think it was Ezekiel, right? The Valley of Dry Bones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dim bones.
Yeah, dim bones. So, and I feel like we've gotten like other, mass resurrection things
very
too.
Pharisaic.
Yeah, we've definitely gotten some other ones.
Yeah.
And then there will be a judgment over which God himself will preside.
I think it's in like 4th Ezra.
Yeah, 4th Ezra. That sounds about right. Yeah. Baruch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyways, and then there will be a judgment over which God himself will preside, judging the whole world again. As many as sinned by impiety, these will a mound of earth cover, and broad Tartarus, and the repulsive recesses of Gehenna. But as many as are pious, they will live on earth again, when God gives spirit and life and favor to these pious ones. Then they will all see themselves beholding the delightful and pleasant light of the sun. Oh, most blessed, whatever man will live to that time. Okay, well, see, in this part, they're like, no one knows what's going to happen. But that tracks with at least the Jesus stuff.
Yeah. So that is the entire fourth Sibyl.
Yeah, that is the entirety of the fourth Sibyl. That was so short.
Yeah,
It took up the whole episode, though.
It what?
It took up a whole episode.
Well, yeah.
Because we planned for that.
We did, yes. It would have taken up a whole episode either way. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that.
I mean, we could do the fifth Sibyl. How long is it?
No.
Is it also super short?
No, we can do that. No, this one's going to be multiple episodes, definitely.
Okay, then we won't do the fifth Sibyl.
Yeah.
Today. We'll start
today.
it next week.
Then we're going to have to talk about the sixth one. Anyways, so that's all for now.
So final thoughts on Sibyl 4.
Wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the stuff we've heard before, but I feel like we finally got some interesting Nero stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which I always like covering. We have a whole lot of. It's always kind of interesting to see how they view their own histories. Like they had the first kingdom as Assyria.
Lots of references to Macedonia.
Yeah, that too. Of course, Alexander did a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they acknowledged how quickly that went downhill after he died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the most exciting book.
It's not the most exciting. No,
it's not the most boring either.
Exactly.
It's just okay.
Yeah.
5 out of 10. Middle of the road.
It is pretty middle of the road. Yeah. But either way. Let's see what we got going on. On Sunday when we continue the Book of Acts, we will also be, considering it's the first Sunday of the month, we'll be giving away a T-shirt.
Yes, to one of our patrons. But if you don't want to be entered into a T-shirt giveaway, instead of becoming a patron, you can just click that pinned T-shirt.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that pinned T-shirt.
Yeah, buy it for yourself.
Yeah,
that's for your loved ones.
That's a direct quote.
Or for your enemies.
Or your enemies. Yeah, that's a direct quote on that T-shirt from the Bible. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Just remind everyone that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And everything is meaningless. Completely meaningless.
There's other cool things you can get on Patreon. You can be in our Hangouts. You can be on the show. You can get our video scripts. You'll actually get the Suffering Servant video script before the video comes out. By the way, how's that script going?
Yeah, like I said, about 5 pages in.
5 pages in, and how long are you thinking it'll be?
It's probably going to be like an hour almost.
Okay, so like maybe 20, 30 pages.
It's going to be quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put a whole bunch of information in there.
Now, if you just put your references in the appropriate method of citation, once you finish the video script, you can edit it up just a little bit and send it in to get published somewhere.
I know.
It's not a big deal. People do it all the time.
I know. It's just so annoying to write like that.
Yeah.
To always have to add those citations in there.
Yeah. But, beyond that, we have an Amazon wish list. It's full of books.
Yeah, it is full of books.
Biased books.
You could put books on this table or put books on our bookshelves where we read them and then
books in our brain.
Yeah, book go in brain. That where book go.
Book go here.
Yeah.
Big good book time.
Yeah, exactly.
Heidi ho.
Let's see what else we got. That's all most of the shilling we got to do. But we have Facebook and Twitter, and it's free to follow us on those platforms. All links, which are actually right now being posted by Nightbot, surprisingly.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
And if all else fails, you can find Lawrence's OnlyFans account.
Wow. I don't have one of those.
Well, We have fans, don't we?
That's true. We have fans.
We could have a page that's only for fans.
Yeah, it's called a Patreon. Anyways.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. All links are in the description. And we will see you on Sunday. We're going to be doing acts and giving away